Hello, I'm Gary Frankenberry, and this is tutorial 3 of the Learning Ruby programming series called Installation and Configuration of a Ruby Programming Environment for Microsoft Windows. In this video, we will demonstrate 1. Downloading and installing Ruby, 2. Downloading and installing Notepad++, 3. Configuring Notepad++ for the Ruby programming environment, and 4. Entering and running a simple Ruby program to see if everything works. So let's proceed. Launch Firefox or Chrome or whatever browser you happen to be using, and up in the location bar type ruby installer.org. Don't type the www in front of that. It won't work. Press the Enter key and you'll be presented with the Ruby installer for Windows website. Move the mouse pointer down and click Download. For which version of Ruby to install on the left, you have several to choose from. You can read the which version to download there, but quite frankly, all the files you might work with in this tutorial series will work with 2.1.5, and the latest version of Ruby executes faster as well, so I'd recommend that one. If you have a 64-bit Windows version, load the x64 here. If not, load the other version. I've got the 64-bit version of Windows, so I'm going to click that, and I'm going to click Save File. And then I'm going down to Windows Explorer here, and I'm going into the Downloads folder, and I'm going to find Ruby Installer. Double click that, click Run. If English is your language, leave this alone and click OK, otherwise choose an appropriate language. I accept the license, click Next. Check all three of these check boxes. Install TCL/TK support, add Ruby executables to your path, and associate .rb and .rbw files with this Ruby installation. Click Install, and now we'll install that version of Ruby on your computer. And click Finish. Next, we'll install a text editor program called Notepad++ for editing and running your Ruby programs. Now we'll talk about installing and configuring Notepad++ for the Ruby programming environment. So let's go up to the location box in the upper left corner of your web browser and type in www.notepad++.org and press the Enter key. As soon as I get to the Notepad++ website, I'm going to click Notepad++ 6.7.4, the J3 Charlie edition. I'll scroll down and I'll click Download. I'll scroll down and I'll click Notepad Installer, and I'll click Save File. I'll fire up Windows Explorer, and we'll click the Downloads folder here. We'll scroll down until we find NPP.6.7.4 installer. Double click that. Click OK for the language, or select a different language. Click Next to continue. Click I agree to the license agreement. You may read it if you wish. Click Next to confirm the destination folder for the download files. Click Next for the Choose Components folder. On the second version of the Choose Components folder, click Don't Use %appdata% and click Create Shortcut on Desktop and click Install. Alright, I'm going to run Notepad++, so I'll leave that checked. I'll click Finish, and Notepad++ arrives here showing the Je suis Charlie message that's being typed on our screen, and I'm going to click the box here, the little X in the tab here, and click the close box. It says save file, new one, click no, and now we're ready to begin configuring Notepad++. So we'll go to Settings, Preferences. We'll come down to Tab Settings. We'll scroll down here, find Ruby, click Ruby, uncheck Use Default Value, click Tab Size 4, and change that to a 2, and click Replace by Spaces. We'll next go to New Document, and this is optional. If you want to use Notepad++ to edit all kinds of files, don't do this, but I use it primarily for working with Ruby, so I'm going to set the default file to Ruby. Now we'll go ahead and click the Run menu, and we'll click Run again, and it wants to know what program you want to run when you tell it you want to run your Ruby program. So we need to go to a special website. It's a rather long string to type in here. So I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to type in TechStorms, TechStorms.net, and I'm going to go ahead and copy this string here. So I'll right click it, select copy, and then I'll go ahead and close that or minimize that, and I'll come in here and do a edit paste, right mouse button paste, and I'll click save, and the name we want to give this is Execute Ruby Programs, and that's what will appear in the Run menu bar on the main menu. And we'll click the button here to activate this with the shortcut keys, and I like activating this with F6, and we'll click the OK button and the close box, and that's done. There's only one other setting that I feel I need to set in Notepad++. I particularly don't like the Courier font, so I go to Settings, Style Configurator. I'm going to enable the global font and the global font size. I'm going to click Font Name, and I'm going to scroll down, and I guess I will select Liberation Mono right there. And then I'm going to save and close that, and you see the font appears much darker and clearer and easier to read. Let's go ahead and type in a simple little Ruby program and then save it, and then make sure that everything is working correctly here. I'll not be using Windows again in my future lessons on Ruby programming because I'm primarily a Linux user, so we'll go through this once here to make sure it works. The most basic command in Ruby is puts. It stands for put string, and a string is a collection of characters delimited by quotation marks. So I'll put hello, comma, world as my quote. So I've got the puts command, and then I've got the string hello world. Press the enter key. Let's type in another puts command. Type the quote. Type my name is, and of course you can substitute your own name there. I'll put my name as Gary. We're going to do file, save as, and I think I'll roll up here. I think I have in my folder a learning Ruby, and I'm going to call this testing ruby.rb and click save. Now I should be able to run this simply by pressing the F6 key, and it'll execute this two-line Ruby program, or I can click run and go down to execute Ruby programs, but the shortcut F6 is the easy way. So I'll press F6, and there's the output of my Ruby program. It put the string hello world on the screen, and it put my name is Gary on the screen. That's it. You can go to lesson 4 for hands-on programming. Thank you for listening, and goodbye for now.